Hello everyone, it is December 19th, 2023. It's Tuesday. It's Harp Tuesday. Welcome to this week's episode. So today I'm going to be talking about the basics of how to figure out and write down pedal markings for a piece that has some accidentals. So if you're maybe new to the pedal harp, learning this skill is quite important and is an example. I'm going to use this easy arrangement of Carol of the Bells that I did last year for our Harp Tuesday episode, and that is available as free if you sign up for my email newsletter as an arrangement for lever harp. So what do we do if we want to play it on the pedal harp? Because we can't always just look at the lever settings or the lever markings. We have to figure out what we're going to do with our pedals. To start with, and this ties in with the episode last week about pedal charts, we're going to put a pedal chart in here. So we see that it's in the key of B flat, two flats, which would mean our B and our E are up, and the rest of the pedals are in the middle setting. Now, it might be that we could actually start with something else down or up that would normally be the case. We can see on the first page there are no accidentals. Everything's just in the key. On page 2, though, we start to have, here's this E natural, and then an E natural, so here's an E natural here, and E natural and F sharp here. Maybe we could start with one of those. And one thing we can do is to start to draw a pedal chart, right? So there's the basics of the pedal chart. Now, what's the first note? It's a B, and there's no sharp or flat or natural in front of it. It's just whatever it is in the key, which in this case is a B flat. So we can mark that in. Then what's the next note? It's an A. It's natural because that's in the key. It is by default natural and there's nothing in front of it to say otherwise. We get the B again, then we get a G. Okay, so we mark that in as natural. Okay, this is all the same as it turns out, right? So great. And then again, the right hand keeps doing this ding, tom, 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 right? This. Nothing's going to change. Left hand plays a G here. Okay, we already know G is natural. F. Aha, F is natural. Again, there's no sharp or flat or natural in front of it. So it's the default of whatever key we're in. B flat by default has an F natural. Here's this E already, and here's a D. Oh, E, no, I said E already, but we haven't played an E yet. So the E is flat because our key has the two flats. And this D here, we haven't played it, it's natural. So now we're just left with a C. And we could search through, we won't actually play a C until we get to this second page. And as it turns out, I think this is where we first play it, right here. It's natural. So we are in fact just in the key of B flat to start with. You don't have to do it this way, right? Especially when we see this first page has no other accidentals, just everything's in the key. We might start by default by just putting a pedal chart for a B flat, key of B flat. Or maybe we don't even need to put a pedal chart in at all. We just know it's in the key of B flat. And then change it if necessary. And again, the thing with pedals is you're not necessarily guaranteed to get it right the first time through. And there is not really always a right way to do them. You want a sequence of pedal changes that gets the effect that you want, but you can adjust that, the timing of when you change the pedal, maybe this pedal first, maybe that pedal first. When do you change them back? There's some general rules or general suggestions, guidelines, but it's not as if there's always one right way to do it. I'm just going to erase all this on this first page just so it's a little bit cleaner. But so here we have this first page. Again, there's nothing going on here that we need to work with on the pedals. So that's great. I've got that pedal chart at the beginning. I don't even need to put it there. I could just remember that we're in the key of B flat. That's great. And so this stuff here, this lever harp stuff, we can ignore, right? On the lever harp, we could set this E natural and F sharp independently of this lower E flat and F natural, right? That's actually one of the advantages of the lever harp is you can have different, this E can be natural and this one can be flat. Whereas on the pedal harp, if this is natural, all the E's are natural. So Then let's go on to the second page where we start to get these accidentals. And so we notice, here's the first one, there's this E natural here, where we've gone, sorry, E natural. Okay, so when do we want to change that? We can look back on the previous page and we see that here is an E flat down here, right? This is the last time we've played an E. So we could change it somewhere in here. We could change it somewhere in here. By default, I think it's a really good habit to get in to work on, to get into the habit of changing the pedals as they occur, because sometimes maybe we end up having an E flat right here and having to change it right as it occurs. So by default, for me, if I were writing this down, I would change that E to natural right on the beat at the beginning of, this is bar 22, I guess. So I would put an E natural. I tend to like to put the pedals beneath both staves, beneath the system. And I'll put lever changes in between the stabs, like you can see here. Up to you. Sometimes there's not much room, and maybe I squeeze them in here instead. But here I think there's enough room that I will put it down beneath as I've marked. It's kind of a sloppy E, almost looks like a B. Maybe I'll try to do that better. But so I'll do it there, and of course I will try and change it. I have to change it just that split second before I play the E, right? I don't want to change it too late, but so change sort of right in anticipation of playing. Great. As I say, there's no reason you couldn't change the E back here. But I think it's good practice to change it there, right as it occurs. And I will say, by the way, that you'll notice the left hand has nothing in those 2 bars, 3 bars actually, right? That's to facilitate the left hand doing the lever changes. If you wanted to do something in the left hand, we could go from bar 21 here. We could maybe play, maybe move up to the E here with a thumb, and then maybe unison. Just if you want to do more with the left hand, now that it's freed up from changing the levers. So we've changed this E to natural, and then this bar here, this E is flat. So remember, when we get to a new bar, any accidentals are thrown out. They're gone. Now, oftentimes you will see what's called a courtesy reminder, which I would have put in, I think, had this been for pedal harp, I would have put a flat in front of that E. Again, it is flat because it's the start of a new bar, and in our key we have an E flat, so it would be flat. But putting in a flat sometimes with a parentheses around it to show that it's just a reminder and not an accidental can be nice. But again, by default, when we get to a new bar, everything's reset. And so we have to change that to flat. So when will we change it to flat? Well, we could try and change it right as it occurs, right on this beat 2. But these beats are going by fairly quickly. And so here's another principle, which would be, yes, it's nice to change it right as it occurs, but it also can be nice to change it on easy to feel beat. And in this case, we're kind of feeling this in 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, this. Yes, it's 1, 2, 3, but we really kind of feel it as 1, 1. That big beat makes me want to just change it right on the beginning of this bar, right on the beginning of this beat. Let's see how that feels. So this is what I would do on paper, but then again, sometimes you go back and you play it and you realize, oh, I want to do this earlier or later. It doesn't quite feel right to me. So I'm going to try from 21, change back. Feels okay. We'll have, again, if we change it just before we play the F on this 3rd bar of this line, we'll have replaced on this E that was natural earlier to muffle it. So instead of worrying about hearing it get changed, we're going to be fine. So I like that placement. That's great. And again, I would change it right here, just to tidy this up a little bit. Okay, great. We scan ahead and we see here at bar 29, we've got this little scale, right, where we have an E natural and an F sharp. Okay, great. And what we run into here, and this is a reason why sight reading on the harp can get a little bit, the pedal harp can get, well, lever harp as well, but on lever harp it's clear that it can be really hard to handle accidentals without planning it out ahead of time. But on the pedal harp, when we get to this bar, if we haven't changed anything at bar 29, suddenly we have to change an E natural and an F sharp. Both are on the right foot side of the pedals. So it would be one thing if it was E natural, B natural, we could get to this bar, notice them, read them, and change them right as they occur. But now, because they're both on the same side, we would really like to have changed one of them, if possible, before we get to this bar. So let's scan back and see when was the last time we played these. So this is E and F, remember? And so here we see an E. Oh, here's another E. When do we see an F? Here's an F. I think that's the last F. So we have an E that's changed right here, but our F, that's played right here in E flat, but our F natural, the last time we played it was back here in bar 25. Great. So let's change that F to sharp, and we'll change our E to natural right here at 29, right? Because we can't change it too much earlier because we need it at 28. And then we'll change the F to sharp at 28. Now, it's a bit unfortunate in the sense that previously we've been changing our E to natural at bar 22 and back to flat. So our foot by default should still be on that E, right? We don't necessarily want to move our foot away from that E. And so it's handy if the next pedal change can be an E. But unfortunately here, I think we have to change F first. So at some point before we change that F to sharp, we'll have to have our foot sort of migrate over from the E to the F pedal, and then back to the E. So let's just check this out, maybe from 25. Great, that works. Yeah, we have to be ready with that F. We could even change it, 25, 26, at 27, if we wanted a little bit more time, if it felt a bit rushed, getting from the F to the E. That's fine. And let's also, I just want to mention again here that now that we have all of our E's in it, natural and F sharp, at 29 we could, for example, play in unison. If we wanted something a little bit more involved with the left hand in those two bars. Again, this is a very basic, easy arrangement, but if you wanted to give it a little bit of extra or something, that might be an option there. Okay, now do we need to put them back? Well, so we can see here that right here in bar 35, there's our E flat. Oh, and in the previous bar, there's our F natural, right? So we're going to have to change these back. Now, again, going on that principle of it would be nice to, I did, okay. It would be nice to change the pedal that we last used. That would be convenient. Would that work? So we do have an F first, but maybe we could change our E to flat. And there isn't a lot of room here, so I'm going to stick it in between these, in this case, E to flat here, and then our F to natural here. And again, this one, maybe you'd put a courtesy reminder here, just as a reminder that that one is back to natural. Maybe yes, maybe no. So let's see how that feels, going from 29. I'm going to try that actually going from 25 to get these F sharp, E natural, E flat, F natural, the movement of the foot in there. Change, 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 change. That felt good to me. Now, again, it's going by fairly quickly. So again, if you're kind of new to pedal harp, it might feel that changing an E natural here and then an E flat there and an F natural there, maybe that feels a bit rushed. So we could try and change that E to flat a tiny bit earlier, but I think if it's here, it's a bit risky that we hear it get changed from when we played it as natural, right? If we go, maybe yes, maybe no. So again, there's this sort of, you write it down on your music, and then you play and you kind of see how that feels and think, okay, is this a case where I do actually want to change the order or the position of when I change the pedals? Or maybe it just means I need to practice this particular, okay, E, F, E flat, F natural, that particular move. Just because it's fast doesn't mean it's not something you can do, right? Like, it's perfectly possible to do it. And so maybe that just requires practice, or maybe it requires maybe changing the E to flat a little bit earlier. Or at 33, we could change the F to natural, right? It just means we have to move the foot over a little bit earlier, but we got lots of time to do it. And then we could change our E to flat right where we actually need it, here. And then that gives us lots of time. So if we go from 29, I'll just change the E at 29. F natural, so I have to move my foot over. And then lots of time to get over to this E. So for me, because I feel happy doing a fairly fast pedal change, going E flat, F natural feels good because I get to keep my foot on the E and then just move over to the F. But it might be that the F natural and then E flat might feel better for you in terms of not feeling rushed to get to that next pedal change. And then we can go back and we can try playing the piece and seeing, okay, does this actually work? I'll maybe go from 17 here, just not to go through the whole piece, but so I'm just going to memorize that. Change. So again, this could be unison. Change. 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 We could repeat, or I'll keep going. So yes, I think it works out. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time through, but to try and get the pedals in and then try it out and then maybe make adjustments as needed. So again, even in a piece like this that doesn't have a lot of modulation, you can see that there's some things to think about. And hopefully that gives you an idea of how you could tackle a piece. So I'm looking specifically at this, but any piece that you come across that doesn't have the pedals already laid out, to feel that you could go through that and figure something out, write it down, try it out, maybe adjust as needed, and go from there. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found that useful, and I will see you next week for another episode of Harp Tuesday. Cheers.